All right, y'all. Today we're taking a look at this boudoir photography business. Gonna see if it has BSS for its local search and for its city search. So we're back here in the GBC universe, where we take declining boudoir photographers, turn them into the #1 boudoir photographers in their city. Our North Star, as always, is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. More about that and whatever pinned post, pinned video, home video, somewhere around here. And that's because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So if we're falling, we're missing somewhere on this, intent ladder. We're not capturing the amount of people we need to at each intent step or intent level. So we see over on the left, BSS. That's what we talk about here. That's the highest intent people doing, social search, Google search, and then over on the right, the lowest intent people. That's BLCS. That's our other brand, Boudoir Facebook Ad Doctor. That's what we're working with. Boudoir photographers spending more than 10 grand per month on their Boudoir Facebook ads. But BSS, that's what we care about today. So care about the highest intent people right now. So BSS is boudoir search sameness. That's when a boudoir photographer has 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. So 0 slots on page 1, and we're invisible. We're basically dead. And that's because that means we're on page 2 or deeper, and we know that approximately 80% of Google searches never go past the first page, just loaded page 1 only. So those 20%ers, we don't care about them. We want to deal with the 80%. 80% is the bulk of people. Now, 1 slot on page 1 also is not good for us because we look like everyone else on page 1. If there's 9 other boudoir photographers and everyone's got 1 link, then the searcher, the buyer, is simply going to literally click and opens everyone's website, contact everyone. We don't stand out at all. Probably won't even remember our name. So boudoir search sameness, boudoir photographer has 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. And 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google is not normal. Extremely common, but it's not normal is actually the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. First deeper root cause is market saturation, which most know about. The second one is the false belief of page 1 equality, which most people do not know about. Now, the market saturation, that's where it seems like every week someone gets a new iPhone, they throw up their Google My Business profile, and they say they shoot boudoir, they got their website up, they're competing with us to rank on page 1. Basically, more boudoir photographers over time competing for the same number of buyers, so it makes it harder, more difficult for everyone to compete. So that's consistently pushing people out of page 1 onto page 2, and effectively invisible to 80% of searchers that never even go to page 2. Now the new one here, we got the false belief of page 1 equality. This is new because people have kind of auto-accepted it because there's never really a word to describe this. And for people to say, oh, I agree with that, or disagree with that, or I think it's true or false, or whatever. But the false belief of page 1 is equality is basically assuming, getting 0 or 1 slot on page 1 of Google is the default. It's the norm. Everyone either has 0 slots or 1 slot, and maybe you had 1 slot on Google page 1, but market saturation puts us off to page 2. So all right, we got 0 slots on page 1, we got 1 slot on page 2, and all right, that's how it is. It's how being a boudoir photographer is. But no, actually, we can actually take as many page 1 slots as we want to put in the work for. And I know that because I went from 0 out of 10 slots on page 1 to 9 out of 10 slots on page 1 of Google in 10 days. So this kind of page 1 equality assumption, or like default belief, default assumption, is 100% incorrect, which we'll see in a few more pictures down here. We also know that a boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness, so 0 1 slots on page 1 of Google, is a disappearing boudoir photographer. Yeah, it's kind of like the canary in the coal mine. I mean, if you got 0 slots on page 1, you're definitely disappearing. 1 slot on page 1, probably also disappearing as well, because there may be some other people that got 2 slots on page 1, and we're not at 1 slot. We're not standing out at all. We're basically invisible. We're being price shopped against everyone. So it's kind of the canary in the coal mine, where once someone becomes a disappearing boudoir photographer and they don't fight against it, then pretty soon, eventually, the entire business disappears as well. So it's kind of the canary in the coal mine of what can happen in the next future in the business. So BSS, luckily we got the solution. BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka our S cubed methodology. we invented this, been working on it for about 7 months now. We're liking the results so far, so we're bringing it to market. And to utilize S-Cube's methodology, remember it's social search saturation. So we saturate search on Facebook search, Instagram search, TikTok search, YouTube search with what our people searching for boudoir photo shoots will be typing in. So we show up there. And once we do that, that actually flows over to Google. So saturating social search actually flows over to Google kind of as a byproduct, giving us multiple links on page one. And again, I went from 0 out of 10 links on page one to 9 out of 10 links on page one for what I wanted to rank for in 10 days. And so the magic about this is the only way someone can use this is if they crash, if they destroy that false belief of page one equality. Because once we use S-Cube methodology, and once you actually see these results I got, we'll realize, oh, that belief was actually false. Page one equality is not the norm. Google actually will give us as many links as we want to put in the effort to acquire, as many page one links. And so the second magical thing about S-Cube's methodologies is it's the only thing I've seen that actually fights back against market saturation. So imagine if there's, we're a boudoir photographer in LA, and there's a total of 1 million boudoir photographers in LA. Everyone's got their own website. So everyone's, fiercely competing to be page one on Google. But imagine we take the S-Cubed methodology to the extreme where we rank so hard for the highest intent keywords for people searching for boudoir photo shoots. And, we absolutely crush social search saturation, where literally like the first 300 slots of any and every search related to boudoir is us. So it's around all the social platforms that flows over to Google, and let's say the first 300 organic results on Google are only us as well, because we took S-Cubed methodology to the max. So the fact that there's 999,999 other boudoir photographers actually doesn't matter to us, because for the first 300 slots, anywhere somebody looks for a boudoir photo shoot in LA, we're the only ones there. They got to go down to slot like 301, and Google is 10 organic slots per page, so they got to go to page like 31 to find another boudoir photographer. So whose business is still doing great? Ours, even though there's literally 999,999 other boudoir photographer competitors. So this is one of the special things about S-Cubed methodology. It's the only thing I've seen that actually, builds momentum and helps us compete against market saturation. That can happen relatively quickly. The only other second thing would be brand. People doing branded search searching for our brand specifically, but that takes years. So this is something that happens way faster than years to build a brand. And now once true with S-Cubed methodology, we now have page one visibility. So we're actually seen on page one, even though, we may have had one slot on page one, we're still kind of invisible. But with page one visibility, we got 2. Well, we go for the GBC minimum of 3 out of 10 here for local search and city search. But the added bonus is every new slot we take up on page one, we are kicking a competing boudoir photographer off page one, effectively making them invisible, because approximately 80% of Google searches never go to page 2. They stay on page 1. And as a result, kind of as we take 4 out of 10 slots, 5 out of 10 slots, 6 out of 10 slots, people searching for at least the 80%, the big chunk we're going for, they can only price shop us or compare us against 2, 3, 4 boudoir photographers instead of against 9, because they ain't going to page 2 anyways. And so this is one of the other bonuses. It's actually kicks our competitors out of basically being found. Now, page one visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us, because we're no longer at a 0 or 1. We're no longer at 0 1 slots on page 1, and boudoir search for So we're actually standing out. Well, 0 1, and we won't get to 3 because there may actually be someone else that has 2. I mean, 1's most common, 2 is kind of rare. But if we got 3 out of 10, we're ultra rare. And we're definitely standing out against people that have 1 slot each, and still standing out against people that got 2 slots. It's probably only one other person. And a boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility is a visible boudoir photographer, a VBP. And this is our universe theory, disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness caused by market saturation and the false belief of page one equality. Once we accept page one equality is false, now we know, okay, now we can tackle it, we can solve it. The only thing I know that can solve it is S-cubed methodology. It actually solves, the only thing I know that can solve both false belief of page one equality and market saturation. We achieve page one visibility, we become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. All right, so these are my results actually doing, so ranking for the keyword BLCS boudoir. So that's what I want to rank for. So we got the AI overview, got the Google Map Pack. Now looking at organic. So I got organic slot 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 10. So I got 9 out of 10 slots on page 1 of Google. And this was after I went from 0 out of 10 to 9 out of 10 in 10 days. And kicked everyone else off page 1. I took it over. And this is showing the power of the S-cubed methodology, where Google wants to give these page 1 slots to the people that want the page 1 slots the most, and to be relevant to the user search. So these slots are always up for grabs for everyone that wants them. So now to the main event here. Let's see if this boudoir photography business has BSS for its local search and its city search. So Middletown, Delaware, Wilmington, Delaware. Okay. So here we go, Middletown, Delaware. So here we go, we got slot 1. Sponsor doesn't count. All right, we got slot 2. All right, we got slot 3. We got slot 4. Hey, we got slot 5. And we got slot 6. Slot 7. Slot 8. Amazing. All right, this is what we want. This is page 1 domination. When we got 8 out of 10 or more slots on page 1. Google search for our highest intent keyword. Perfect. Exactly what we want. Obviously, we want as many as we can get, 9 or 10 as well, but hey man, 8's great. So we do not have BSS for local search, and we have achieved the GBC minimum of 3 out of 10 for local search. Perfect. And that search, the largest city close by, which is Wilmington, the same thing. All right, so here we go. We got slot 1. Boom, slot 2. All right, so we got slot 2 here. So we do not have BSS for city search either. So we got 2 out of 10 slots. Nice. And a benefit. So we do not have BSS for local search, and we hit the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 for local search. We also do not have BSS for city search, but we did not hit the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 for city search. So all in all, pretty good. All right, so if you're a disappearing boudoir photographer, meaning you've done your local and city searches already for the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords, and you've seen that you have either 0 or 1 slots for at least one of them, or you're not hitting the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots for at least one of them. And so you're saying you got BSS boudoir search sameness. You understand that the false belief of page 1 equality is exactly that, a false belief. Google actually gives us many page 1 slots as we want to put in the effort to acquire. And your chain S-key methodology is the only method that can get us that many slots in that short of a time frame. And you like the initial benefits, more page 1 slots Google search, and also you really like the other initial benefit, kicking competing boudoir photographers off page 1 Google search, effectively putting them on page 2 or deeper, effectively making them invisible to approximately 80% of the marketplace. You think that's pretty cool. And you're thinking ahead, you understand market saturation, yeah. More peeps trickle into the marketplace as they get new gear, yeah. But you're also looking ahead, you're seeing, wow, AI's already taken a bunch of people's jobs, and it's actually gonna be taking more and more people's jobs in the future as it gets better and better. So what actually needs to happen is you're actually seeing, wow, actually a much larger wave of boudoir photographers going to be entering the marketplace over time, up over and above the peeps that are coming because of upgraded gear. and you realize and you actually need to fortify your position on page one Google search, and essentially has so many links that Google can't even rank all your links page one on Google search, and now you're starting to stuff page 2, 3, and 4. Basically fortify your position, basically guarantee no current boudoir photographer ever has any chance to rank page one, and basically guarantee no future boudoir photographer that enters the marketplace after AI takes their job has any chance of sitting on page one or ranking on page one either. And fortifying your position, basically like fortifying the levees down in Nolens, Louisiana, because that city is below sea level. So got to fortify it against the ocean. And Machine Cube methodology is the only solution to do this, the only path forward to do this, because you also want to achieve page one visibility, become a visible boudoir photographer, and have boudoir search visibility, because you need these things on your path to become the #1 boudoir photographer in your city. And you also like the future benefits of utilizing SQ methodology successfully every day, which are we're building up these, initial or invisible thematic keyword columns, kind of like plugged in to our brand, all around our brand for the specific keywords that we're trying to rank for. And as we do this more and more, we're increasing our repetition, relevance, frequency, authority, and age of all those invisible thematic keyword columns around us plugged into us, our name, our business name, our brand names, our social handles, all kind of existing out there on the internet. And you understand every day we increase kind of the power of these, or the frequency of these, or the volume of these, are actually increasing the probability we're ranked up here in the top recommended AI overview, because we're building this back-end AI mindshare with doing all these things. As we grow our AI mindshare through successfully executing SQ methodology every day, also increasing the probability every single day AI search recommends us. ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, Copilot, Microsoft Copilot, Google Gemini, all comes increased probability to be recommended there from executing SQ methodology successfully every single day. And AI search growing every single day, more and more people are using it every single day. And AI, last time I used AI to search for boudoir photographers in a city, I was using ChatGPT, and I searched in a city for boudoir photographers, and it gave me 3. And then I went to actually look, how many, kind of a manual search, Google manual and Facebook manual search, and dude, I found like 60. It's like, man, we got to find any way possible to get in one of these 3 AI search slots, and we're seeing SQ methodology provides exactly what the AI wants to see. These invisible thematic keyword columns, all attributed to our brand, increasingly over time. You also like in the future benefit of, we can grow to be a large, well-known brand in our area, and perhaps even larger than our immediate radius, approximately 8x faster than traditional methods. You also like in that my current plan is to work with only one boudoir photographer per city, so you're liking you can get all these benefits and actually prevent all your competitors from getting these benefits at the same time. Actually give you a chance to get your links page one, build up the back, kind of this 5 backlinks that could be on page one, but are actually stuck on page 2, 3, and 4, and fortify your position, build up your AI mindshare momentum in the back end with all these invisible thematic keyword columns being applied to you and your brand, and just really put a massive gap between you and every other single competitor in your city, or essentially they'll never even be able to catch up. So you're liking all that, and you decide to be a first mover in your city to adopt this technology because you understand the converse scenario, which is if one of your boudoir photographer competitors signs out with me first, they get all those links on page one, you're getting kicked out to page 2, 3, and 4 and deeper, becoming super invisible, definitely disappearing. Your business is on the path to disappearing. We're fortifying your competitor's position. We're building up their AI mindshare in the back end with their invisible thematic keyword columns that feed into the kind of AI, brain on the internet. And we're building a massive gap between me and your competitor and you. And the only way you could compete, since I can't work with you, is you'd have to rederive SQ methodology on your own. You would then have to, you would never actually be 100% confident you've rederived it correctly. And then you'd have to execute it successfully every single day. And once you did that, all that would happen is you would be maintaining the current gap me and your competitor have on you, because we're also doing it every single day. And so to gain on us, you would have to actually double and triple executing us every single day, which you would probably not feel confident putting in the time into, because again, you would not be 100% confident you've even derived the system, the technology correctly in the first place. And let's say you did all that, you'd have to do, who'd even have 80 hours a day to do all this stuff? So you decide to screw all that. You decide to be the first mover in your city. Don't want to miss out on this opportunity. So if that's you, shoot us a DM. Well, our DMs are currently closed, but that's because the hospital is currently closed for new patient intake. But when we do open our doors, shoot us a DM, and we'll see if you qualify for utilizing our S cubed methodology.